Welcome. Again, my name is Eric Pate. I'm a GIS analyst with the Prince George's County Office of Information Technology, and I'm joined by Charlie Wren, who I work with every day in OIT, and Jason Seeley of Cyclomedia. And we are here to talk a little bit about our Cyclomedia implementation in Prince George's County. We'll talk about the technology and some of the benefits that we're getting out of the product. So I'm going to turn it over to Jason, and then we'll have some time at the end for some questions and some other discussion. So it's all yours, Jason.
Very good. Can you hear me all right? Just to double check.
Hear you awesome. Great, yes.
Many thanks to Eric, Patrick, and Charles, and the Prince George's County GIS squad here in OIT. Greatly appreciate the opportunity to just, as Eric said, speak to the good work and specifically the use cases that Prince George's are already enjoying, or right with our technology. As you know, we pride ourselves on those use cases and our customers getting something out of the product that they procure. So I put together a brief presentation here, PowerPoint. I promise not to PowerPoint you to death, but with 15 minutes, I just want to be as efficient as possible. So I'm going to try to share my screen now. You could confirm that you could see my screen here.
Yes, we see it, Jason.
Awesome. I'm going to turn my camera off here while I'm presenting. So I'll just go into presentation mode here. So our tagline is visualize a better world. And I like to always compare our solution to something that you all might be more readily familiar with, which, and it's a space or a vertical that I actually come from, which is aerial imagery. You know, if you think about, I don't know how long you all have been in the game or geospatial imagery game, but when I came into it and worked for a company called Pictometry way back in 2004, the oblique imagery or oblique image was the new kid on the block. Orthos were the standard, trusted, right? And obliques were just nothing but a pretty picture to some of the customers I was speaking to at that time. I think you all know how valuable obliques have become in the industry, and they've almost become a norm, right? In addition to that orthogonal image. And that's where we see ourselves kind of fitting in here, being so successful overseas, globally, right? This technology was founded in the Netherlands, but here in the United States, we've made a big mark improving the value of street level imagery to folks, because it's just so familiar and intuitive the moment you're in the imagery, right? Commercially available imagery like Google Street View has almost turned it into an expectation of folks. And if you want to think of what Cyclomedia is in comparison to that, it's almost I would call it a professional grade street level image, right? Highly accurate. There's no parallax or blurring. It's just a perfect bubble of imagery every recording point that you're in. So moving forward, this is a must for all of our customers. You know, you want technology or need technology now that benefits a multitude of organizations. So the way our imagery and software and solution and APIs is licensed right out of the gate with our standard license offering, as Prince George's is enjoying, it's unlimited users, right? That means unlimited access across the counties, and that even trickles down to the municipalities and cities below that. So this slide is just giving you a few highlights, right, of maybe the more common workflows where conversations start with Cyclomedia. In specific to Prince George's County, it really was driven by OIT and GIS because they saw the opportunity to serve this shared services model, if you will, to get that our imagery and data into the hands of folks where it could make a difference. And I'm going to go into a few of those now. So again, just in the interest of time, maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse a little bit, but I at least want to give you a frame of reference of how it's being used before I tell you how the sausage is made, if you will, to borrow that cliche. So the Department of Public Works and Transportation is a big fan of our imagery. Just a couple of examples that we pulled out for today's presentation are scouting bus shelter locations for an initial, feasibility assessment. And also, if you think about all of the, the multitude of assets that DPW and T are responsible for throughout the county, they can take a look at those images in near real time, right? But everything is time and date stamped, and they have that kind of a foundational component to identify and at a minimum validate those assets wherever we drove our vehicles to capture the imagery. This is just an example that I pulled out. I'm not even zoomed in really. The reason I pulled it out, if you can look in the reflection, actually, you can see our vehicle driving by. But bus shelters was one of their examples. The way they can use this and other customers use this are, number one, a visual condition assessment. How good are these bus shelters, right? Are they labeled appropriately, right? Taking a look at the sign. Some take it even a step further and take a look whether or not there is an ADA ramp, right? Where making it accessible in those regards. Moving on to, if you want to, I just pulled out a couple of fire or public safety examples here. The fire department, they're planning on firing up a pre-planning mapping application. So if you think about all the work they need to do in that preparatory phase, if God forbid something happens and there's a call, they need to understand maybe more than anyone, right? Boots on the ground, what do things look like, right? And our imagery helps develop that pre-plan. And it helps the supervisors that are responsible for those pre-plans more effectively QC those pre-plans and have confidence in them. Another mapping application kind of in the works here is for the Office of Emergency Management. And they need to see, similar to the fire department, right? They need to see their jurisdiction. They need to see anywhere something might go wrong, right? Or when they are responding to something, they need to understand a lay of the land. Again, providing that boots on the ground kind of view. So this may not be the best example, and I'm not sure if it's Bowie or Bowie, so forgive me because I'm not a local. Which is it, Eric?
It's Bowie.
Bowie, see, I knew it. This is just a shot, again, not zoomed in of a high school, Bowie High School, and that's the Performing Arts Center. So when you think about critical infrastructure, it could be anything, right, throughout your county. But if there was a call here, they'd have an opportunity to see access points, challenges, right? Know before you go type of information is what the public safety world loves about this solution. A big user of our technology in Prince George's County is the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. And the number one thing it's doing right now is supporting addressing and property mapping workflows. These guys work tirelessly and in conjunction with, right? Think about how important that all-powerful address point is, right? They use our technology to help improve the quality and the accuracy of that data. You can even go so far as to see your address points within the imagery, and the city of Philadelphia is moving their points through our API to be exactly on the first floor entrance to whatever building a first responder might come to, right? But the feedback we've received is that it's user-friendly, it supports park address verification, and it's easily shared amongst colleagues, so everybody's working off that same sheet of music. as far as how we do what we do, you know, again, this is kind of the overview now. You know, data capture, driving where our customer wants us to drive, collecting the imagery. It is an on-demand service through our patented capture method. What is delivered is, again, world-class visualization, seamless geocycloramas, 360 degrees around, and you can actually look underneath things 180 degrees up. And we're also capturing LiDAR at the same time, in addition to our imagery, just to further enhance our accuracy. And then once a customer actually, you know, does a collection with us, because we're capturing all that imagery and LiDAR in concert with one another, there's then an opportunity for, you know, feature extractions, condition assessments, so on and so forth. Something that certain departments who shall remain nameless right now are interested in with us, but it's not actually something Prince George's has pulled the trigger on to date, but that we do have an eye on this in the future here. And, you know, a project really begins, as I said, with that area of interest, right? So Prince George's County provided us the roads they wanted capture. We had some back and forth between our GIS experts. And then at the end of the day, we've collected almost 5,000 miles worth of imagery. And then that information, you know, turns into a map. This isn't Prince George's County, obviously, here. But if you look on the left-hand side, every 5 meters or 16.4 feet, those street center lines that we drive turn into a unique geocyclorama, right? So if you can't see something from one view, is a common question. Odds are across the street, or if you take a step forward or backwards, you have the ability to see whatever you're interested in. Licensing and inspections also are a big fan of this, being able to get that much more work done from the comfort of their office instead of going out into the field. I touched on our zoom capability, right? Very high accurate measurements. You know, being able to measure everything within Street Smart or plugging in through our API or plugins that we've already built with, you know, ArcGIS and Esri. You're able to tap into those measurements, and it does have a Z because we're at the ground and we're capturing that LiDAR, which is also unique. And then this is the video I'm going to show you here. Just got to hit escape because I had it called up. You probably won't be able to hear it. And actually, I'm going to mute it to make sure that you don't hear it. But this is a video that was created by our customer in Coral Gables, Florida, that speaks to the why, where, and what, right, of the good work that we did down there. So I'm just going to play that for you here quickly, and then I'll turn things back over to Eric. So they decided to do asset extraction, like sidewalks, gutters, storm drains, ADA pedestrian ramps, in addition with a pavement condition assessment. And that's going to help them determine which streets needed to be resurfaced or repaired, if you can hear me. Once that data is extracted, that data is the customers, and they can upload that into their enterprise GIS. So operational efficiencies they're speaking to here. Again, think about how much more you can get done with technology like this at your fingertips at your desk, instead of going out into the field, right? Unnecessary vehicle or truck rolls, fuel, wear and tear on vehicles, etc. Doing a lot of great work with Coral Gables, and already with our very new relationship here with Prince George's. Sorry, turn off that. And with that, I think I will stop presenting, Eric.
Okay.
Or open it up to questions.
There are a couple of questions. David
Awesome.
McFadden. David and I go back a go back a ways. Hey, David, good to see you. So David's asking, what are the terms of use on the data and the derived products?
Sure. So on the derived product, so let's say Prince George's County wanted to have all of their street signs extracted, right? So we would provide that data once collected and provide that to the county. And at that point, it is the county's. So terms of use, whatever, OIT or the County of Prince George's chooses. As far as the terms of use of our imagery, we've outlined that, and without lawyers are involved and everything else, this is a licensed deliverable. So what that means is Cyclomedia, it's like a shared ownership of the imagery and software capabilities between Prince George's County and ourselves. And Prince George's County actually, after contract, working with MNC PPC, blurred the imagery. And the reason I bring that up is now the county is able to share our imagery. They have to strip out the measurement tools, but they can share it in the public domain now. So I'm not sure if that completely answers the question, but
And I'll just add that imagery, Park and Planning integrated it into their PG Atlas product.
thank you so much. I was drawing a blank there, Eric.
Yeah. So when you have to be zoomed in at a certain amount, and I think it exposes it when you do an identify operation on the map. One of the linked imagery data sets is Cyclomedia, and I think that's really been well received. And yeah, they were excited.
That's very new. That's only a couple of weeks old, Eric.
Yeah, they were excited to get that.
How quickly got that out there.
Yeah. I will say that the excitement that I'm hearing from within the Prince George's County government, which is separate from Park and Planning, for those who aren't familiar with Prince George's County. So the excitement that we're hearing is primarily from Public Works, who of course are looking at their roadway assets and looking for better ways to quantify and do condition assessments, those sorts of things, and public safety. And those are two huge use cases for us. But I suspect that that group is going to broaden as more people become aware that we have the imagery and we get more users involved. And I think we're going to see even more departments start to make use of that imagery. Personally, I'm really excited for the integrations with ArcGIS Pro, where we can go in and view that imagery. Granted, I'm in OIT, so most of the time I'm not doing, you know what I mean? I'm not in public works. I'm not worried about those roadway assets, but I appreciate being able to use that imagery within ArcGIS Pro, and then also being able to leverage it within our ArcGIS Enterprise applications. So that pre-plan application, I'm working with Charlie on that, and what we want to do is on through our Enterprise portal. Leverage the Cyclomedia imagery for those users, those internal users who are doing fire pre-plans. And I think that's going to serve them really well.
And you bring up a great point there, Eric, if I can interject. We deliver out of the box a complete solution. Like the screen grabs I showed were our software as a service, which is called Street Smart. However, we understand that there's different strokes for different folks, right? People don't want to have another software as a service to manage or what have you. So the points you're speaking to there of how our customers like Prince George's County can leverage it multiple ways and integrate it within existing workflows and those existing software investments that you've made with Esri, et cetera. I think that's a real compliment to our arsenal here and the value that our customers get out of things.
And that Z value is magical. So through the various ways that we have to be able to get to that imagery and to that LiDAR data to expose the elevations, I think saves field trips for simple things where you don't really need to run out and see. I think it saves us a lot of wear and tear and miles on vehicles and staff time to be able to see that imagery.
Absolutely.
And get that elevation and difference in elevation data as precise as it is. David was asking a question. I think this is still has to do with the terms of use and licensing. I don't personally know the answer to this, but so could we share that data with a contractor? So we're customers. We've
Sure.
purchased this. We have a contractor who's under contract, to do something particular for us. Are we able to share all of this with them?
So that would be at the discretion of the county, right? You are our customer. We absolutely have a vehicle. I think it's called a sub-authorized user agreement or subdivision user, whatever you want to call it, contractor agreement, because we understand counties, whether it's staff augmentation or projects where this imagery or functionality could be valuable. That is absolutely possible. And it's only like a 1 or 2 page agreement. And we just have to clearly outline the terms of use, attach it to the larger statement of work, and then identify who those parties are and how they're going to be using the data, just to make sure all the CYBs are in place.
Right. So, David, I think this was your question, but reach out to Patrick Callahan, who's our GIS manager. I think he is a lot more knowledgeable about the contract end of this particular procurement. And I do have to give a shout out to Patrick, because Patrick couldn't be with us this morning, but he saw the opportunity. He saw the funding stream and the need for the imagery, put the two together, and now we have it. So
we're so thankful for Patrick. He's a joy to work with.
So David, if you have a use case, you're doing some work for a county agency or something, reach out to Patrick and we'll see if we can make that happen.
Great question.
Any other questions from the attendees? I'm looking through the chat right now.
Yeah, I can't see it. I appreciate that, Eric.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. Okay, Jason, your contact information is there. Good.
Yes.
Sure that we had that.
And thank you so much again for this opportunity and for the participation and questions from the audience that we had. If there's anything I can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and Patrick or Eric.
I see there's a question coming in from David right now, I think.
Okay.
Or a comment maybe? Nope. Okay. Yeah, great to see you as well, David. Thanks again, Jason. And thank you. I know you're in transit. You're
my pleasure.
Going from one place to another, and you carved out some time for us. So thanks again.
Moving and grooving. That's right.
Okay, with that, we're going to break this off. Thank you,
very good.
Jason.
Thank you, everybody.
Attendees. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Eric.
Have a good conference.